a little bit. Okay, there we go. Hello, Frugal Force. This is Captain Frugal reporting for duty for another Frugal Force Live. And I have some absolutely tremendous guests. As usual, I'm very blessed to have such great people joining me for the fun. Of course, I have none other than the Nerd Wonder here.
Yo!
She makes me look good every time. And I got another writer and more. I don't know, I could call you maybe a triple threat or even more for all the stuff you do. And that would be Micah Curtis.
Hello, everyone.
So welcome. If you don't mind, maybe if you don't know, maybe spread this around because that's the only way, because YouTube hates me with a passion right now. So don't feel afraid to spread the news around about this video. And let's help promote and talk about some good, cool comic books and just have some fun.
We need more good comics, so I'm looking forward to this one.
Thanks. So I'm excited about it, but there's also some nerves still when it comes to this book. But I'm very, very happy that it's having the success that it is, like among the other people that are in comicsgate right now. It's not to mention with our my boy Zach dropping another Jawbreakers comic like right as I start my campaign.
Right.
Yeah, that's a big thing to live up to. It's
So
like
just-
as the Roblox players say, oof.
Just so everyone has a heads up there at Englewood, it's on Indiegogo, comic by Curtis Martinez, and you have Strange on there. Has 133 backers so far with 48 days left, and it's at 55% of its 7,000 flexible goal. So
We
let's
need
see
more
if we can
money.
get it there. Yeah, you chose some stiff competition. You didn't go in easy here.
Yeah, you really didn't. I really like these
Definitely not.
comics.
But at the same time, I've gotten a lot of really good support too. I mean, oddly enough, Richard, he and I were emailing back and forth as I was getting ready to launch this campaign, and then just in one conversation, we're talking about different tiers and stuff like that for the crowdfunding, and he's like, "Here, check out God King just to kind of see how I've simplified things." And I look at the whole campaign, and I'm like, "Oh, damn it, man! You have Chuck Dixon on this. What the hell?"
Yeah, you've seen that too.
Chuck Dixon goes everywhere.
I know. I've seen Chuck on there. It's like, oh, you've got to be kidding! How did he get Chuck Dixon? You know, it's like,
Oddly
good
enough.
Lord.
But Chuck is pretty cool.
Oh yeah, he's
Yeah.
an awesome guy. I've talked to him a lot actually.
He doesn't let
Yeah.
me talk to him. I think it's because I'm too shrill.
But no, I met Chuck sometime last year, and oddly enough, he told me about this. Like straight up, he's like, "Yeah, he paid me up front and everything." I'm like, "Wow, he is very serious about you coming on and writing this with him." That's for
He's
sure.
also a really nice. Like he is really nice.
Yeah.
Like I met Richard in real life, and he is an absolute sweetheart.
Oh yeah, he's a great dude.
Yeah.
I've been fortunate enough to talk to them both, him and Chuck Dixon, and they're always very nice to me. So I've got no complaints. So, you know, it is what it is. A lot of fun. But you know, this is your first comic book writing, or am I mistaken?
No, you're not mistaken. This is the first actual comic book that I've tried to publish, I should say. Over the last I want to say about 6 months to a year, I've written 2 of them, but and I'd always planned on launching the 2 of them close to one another, but one of them didn't end up panning out due to some background stuff. There was an artist switch, we'll just put it that way. And but what ended up happening is Englewood was the one that, you know, my team was pretty well set from the start, and you know, everybody cleared their schedules for it, everybody desired it, really wanted it to come out, and then, you know, it ended up panning out perfectly. So, but yeah, this is my first, and it's an exciting one for me because I'm kind of delving into something that a lot of other people, I guess you could call comicsgate creators, are not doing. There's only one other, to my recollection, street level book among the lineup, and I think that would be Lone Star. And even then, now Lone Star's off fighting vampires.
Yeah,
You know,
Lone Star's like more Navy SEAL. Like he starts off seeming to be like, oh, he's street level, and then it's like, we're gonna fight the vampire legions with my SEAL Team 6 crew, and I'm like, this is not street level.
No.
As long as they're not sparkly and all the women love them, I'm fine with them killing them.
No,
But no, he's definitely venturing more to Blade territory with where he's going. With me, I want I'm kind of going for, admittedly, for the audiences that are disappointed by comics like Batman and Daredevil these days, who aren't happy with the way that Tom King has done things, not happy with the way Charles Soule has done things with Daredevil, because I've seen a lot of disappointment there. Now, and the funny thing about it is I don't dislike either of those runs, but right now I'm not exactly hyped for either of them either. You know, Christopher Priest is doing better stuff on Daredevil. Scott Lobdell's doing better stuff with the Red Hood right now. Like, so I wanted to wanted to move into that area, but also add a bit of a twist on how the hero presents himself. I wanted it to be more of an urban story. I wanted to tell a year one story because I've always loved, Batman Year One was always one of my favorite, Batman stories. And then, I'm a big fan of the Nolan Batman trilogy, especially Batman Begins. And I wanted to tell an origin story. I didn't want to just kind of say, this is the guy, he has the powers, here's him beating the crap out of people. I wanted to really, introduce people to the character, because I think that my writing style is very character centric. And though I do write a badass action scene, I want to be able to do that sort of thing that, hits all of the marks that people are looking for when it comes to a street level comic. Strong characters, interesting drama, to be honest with you, and crazy martial arts fights. Well, in this book, you're going to get all three of them.
Yeah, I like this already.
Yeah, that's a great thing, because let's be honest, you could throw in a ton of action and it looks pretty. It looks cool, but you don't really care if you don't like the characters, or you can't get into it at all. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a very important aspect. It's one of the things I like about Red Hood. I like Jason Todd. I've always liked him, even when people voted for him to die.
Yeah.
I was like, I like him because he's a bit of a dick. He just rubs people the wrong way, and that's what made him special, rather than bowing down or kneeling down to Batman. You can take that as you will.
Yeah.
Now, Micah, before you got into this comics, though, you've been around this kind of stuff for a long, long time. How long have you been a YouTuber for?
Well, the channel started, but didn't really start in earnest, about 9 years ago, believe it or not. But what happened was I started doing stuff on YouTube, and then I got a job offer from One Angry Joe to be a writer on the website Blistered Thumbs. So I gave up the YouTube aspiration, and I just said, you know what? I'm just going to go all in on being a writer. That didn't pan out. So I wanted to go all in on being a games journalist, because I love video games. I love entertainment in general, but at the time I was a big gamer, an even bigger gamer than I am now. And I loved writing about the subject. I knew more about it than a lot of people did. So it's like, why not? But yeah. And then after that fell apart, I spent some time away, wrote for Tech Raptor during the whole Gamergate scandal, and then decided after that I wanted to go independent. And then that's when I started doing the YouTube stuff a little bit more seriously.
Now, what's your favorite video game? Let's put them on the spot.
Yeah, we now need to know.
Oh, that's a hard question.
Okay, how about one of your favorites? There we go. A little bit easier.
Just to be fair, I don't
even that's a tough one. Give me a genre.
Okay. All right. Favorite horror game.
Dang, even that's hard.
Okay, fine. Favorite?
No, I actually have favorite horror, Silent Hill 2.
Oh, okay, sweet.
Great game. Yeah.
Okay, we got that down. Favorite handheld game.
I would have to go with all the way back to Pokemon Blue.
Okay, cool.
All the way back. That makes me feel old.
I know, man. I'm feeling it already. People look at me and they're like, "You're 25." I'm like, "I'm 33."
You're still young.
Yeah, that's still young according to everybody. Like, people just stare at me. It's like, you're 31, and it's like, yeah.
Hey, just remember, I started with Atari.
I started with the Sega Genesis, and I skipped out on the best era ever, which was the N64 era. Like, I skipped out on the PS1 era and everything else because my family's like, but you already have a game console.
Oh yeah, my parents tried to do the same thing with me, and they didn't realize how technologically adept their son is, and it didn't work.
Yeah, my family was very Like, we did not have Wi-Fi till I graduated. Because my mom
I didn't have internet access until I was 18. So,
yeah.
Wow, I was already moved out before we had internet.
Well, you're the adult in the room.
Well, thank you. So that's it. Miles, so you've been doing a lot of this. You've been a diehard gamer. Do you think your games made it an easy transition to enjoying comic books, or were you young and enjoyed comic books and games? Because I think there's a big correlation. I think a lot of comic book fans are gamers as well, and there's a really good correlation between those groups.
I would agree. For me, my first comic book I ever read was Amazing Spider-Man 361. It's the introduction of Carnage, and ever since then, Spider-Man's been my favorite superhero.
Yes.
And
you have good taste.
Thank you. And oddly enough, I've been planning. I don't have the money for it yet, but I'm going to get. I don't remember the issue. It's the final battle with Venom versus Spider-Man in the theme park after the Carnage arc. That Mark Bagley arc where they're kind of like arm locked in a pro wrestling pose.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah, I plan on taking that image, blowing it up, and making it a poster over one of my desks.
That is so cool.
Yeah, because I've got a ton of ridiculously nice posters in here. Like I've got the Berserk one behind me. I've got the original Star Wars trilogy here. I've got a bunch of video game ones in my living room. Like it's like the last two I want to get are that Mark Bagley art here, and then probably just because Ethan's been so good to me, I'll probably put like one of his Green Lantern posters like here, and then probably Beta Ray Bill right in front of me.
Oh, there
you can't go wrong with Beta Ray Bill, from what I hear.
No. Yeah, he's awesome. But anyway, there's definitely a lot of crossover there. I think that part of it is because as long as there have been video games, there have been video games based on comic books. Like when I came up, one of my favorite SNES games will always be Maximum Carnage. You know,
that's a good game.
Oh yeah, you give me the chance to play it. Well, with me, it's like, hey, you're gonna give me a video game where I can play as Venom and kick the crap out of street punks. Sign me up.
Yeah. It reminds me of when I used to play like the X-Men games and stuff. Oh man, those were so much fun. But my favorite one has got to be Spider-Man 2. You can't go wrong with Spider-Man 1 and 2 for the PS2.
Those were good ones. I'm trying to think, but yeah, there's always been, like, you go to every video game generation, there's always been good comic book games. You know, even.
Well, look at Atari. They had comic books with some of their games. There was Atari Force as well.
Yeah. I remember oddly enough, my grandfather had an Atari that he would play on very rare occasions. And I remember reading through some of those comic books that came with it. I'm like, this is interesting. So
it's very, very cool. So let me ask you this too. I'm just going to barrage you with a barrage of questions. What made you want to write a comic book?
Well, it's been something that I had thought about for a long time. So with me, comic books is kind of an interesting journey because, John Malin's in here. Hi, John. We haven't met yet. I'm Micah. But like with me, I looked up to certain writers, but when I didn't really analyze the art form until college. When I started getting into old Jim Starlin works, like, of course, anything Thanos related, the Infinity Gauntlet. Well, he's got an entire Infinity trilogy. And then, of course, his Silver Surfer run, his Captain Marvel run, and then on top of that, that's when I also got into Garth Ennis's work and Warren Ellis's work and really got into kind of the British the British comic book writers, Alan Moore, when I started analyzing the art form and stuff like that. So that was kind of when I decided I wanted to get into this. I want to say it was probably about 10 years ago when I read The Authority for the first time by Warren Ellis. I had just finished his Stormwatch run and then got into that. And I'm just like, man, I could do this. I have no reason to believe I could not do this. And it's just been something that's just sat on the back burner for the longest time until I kind of felt like it was the right time to get into the market. And there's not a more ripe time than right now, to be honest with you.
So Mr. E2099 asked, what is your writing process?
So I am overly detailed. I will admit that right out of the gate. I do what the exact opposite of what I tell aspiring writers to do. And that's I go world building first, and then I write the script because I like to know. I like to build the atmosphere. I like to have the whatchamacallit, the tone and the setting before I write the actual plot. I want to know what world I'm walking into, what I'm creating first, before I start putting a character in it and letting them run amok. So
Claymore.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, because that's how he writes. He literally states that he likes to world build first because he made sure that Claymore, like if Claire was to die in the series, that the other characters could carry their own weight. It's really important to him.
Exactly. Say with Englewood, oddly enough, and this is something we haven't talked a lot about, is this is part of 4 different books that I'm involved in one way or another, that link in the same timeline in the same world. So just to kind of go through it, there's a book by my artist called Bombshell that he's doing, which I believe is set in the 1920s, and he wants me to help him script it. That's when Englewood's funding ends, he's going to start the crowdfund for that. And then after that, there's another book that I'm doing with a artist who's currently working for Antarctic right now named Preston Acevedo, called 3 Nights, 4 Days. That is a 100-page graphic novel that I'm going to do about 3 people who return from the Second Crusade that are fighting a bunch of demons, basically.
Sweet.
Yep. And then after that in the timeline is another book that's going to hopefully become a monthly, fingers crossed, called Project Lazarus. It's the one that I have been stressing about over the last year.
Tell me about that one.
Yes. And Wonder, you know a little bit about the stress I went through. I've gone through with that.
That's
holy
like hell.
crap. And I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, but I had to move on from the artist I was working with at the time because there was just I could not afford to have him stop everything and just pay attention to what I'm doing. So with that, with Preston, he's willing to do that for me. So that is in the timeline. And then later on in the timeline is when Englewood starts. Mm-hmm. So we built that entire world and then started putting stories in it together. So it's really, really, really interesting how it's all going to play out, because it doesn't work the same as a lot of other comic book universes do. There's not a bunch of pantheons or anything like that. There's not really a cosmic scene to it. It's all pretty Earth-based. And more than anything, it deals a lot. There's a science fiction element to it, and there's also a mystical element to it, because I've always been a fan of Doctor Strange, Thor, books like that. I've always been fascinated by that sort of thing. So I wanted to have a universe that does that more often. So I hope I answered the question, because I might have gone just way off track there. But
keep going. This is fun.
So, but that's kind of been the big thing for me, is like my biggest inspirations for this universe and kind of the way that I crafted it were, oddly enough, video games. One of the biggest ones was Doom, because there is something awesome about shooting a demon in the gut and then tearing its head off, or stuffing its own foot in its mouth, or something like that. Like
when they explode, it has that really satisfying feeling. I don't know how they do it, but even the old school games, it is just so satisfying to watch anything explode when you hit it.
Oh yeah, it's the ultimate force feedback, basically. So yeah, like Doom was a big inspiration for me, but also a lot of Warren Ellis's work, specifically his Stormwatch and his Authority runs. Also another book that he did for the kind of the tone of the horror elements that I'm going to start bringing into the other books is the one shot he did. It's called Carnage Mind Bomb, which oddly enough is probably his most unsung work. Other things I'm trying to think here. I love Lovecraftian works. I love the atmosphere of Lovecraft. That kind of comes into it. With Englewood, though, I pull a lot from Frank Miller, and I pull a lot from from Chuck Dixon as well. I wanted to have a dark, nasty street level sort of world. Pull a lot from The Wire as well. That show, where I wanted the gangs to feel like something. If you walk the street of Chicago, something you might see, but also have like exaggerating stuff like ninjas.
Well, of course. I mean, even the Ninja Turtles, they fight like street punks, but they also fight ninjas.
Exactly.
And robots and aliens.
Yeah.
Hey, they just know how to make it work, man.
Exactly. Well, and that was one thing I always respected about Frank Miller was you look at his stories even before Born Again, where you've got Matt Murdock fighting, loving all over Elektra and fighting Bullseye. So you have a blind ninja man who is dating another ninja who is Greek, fighting another guy who is obsessed with never missing.
Mm-hmm.
It's so silly, but he pulls it off with such a level of seriousness that you can't help but be engrossed by the characters. And that's the sort of thing that I wanted to do with the street level style. It's like when you talk about street level and you talk about just the base concepts, just the foundation of all the characters, it sounds stupid, but it's awesome. It's like Batman versus Ra's al Ghul. Crazy martial artist in bat costume fights man who never dies.
Furry fights a mortal man.
Yes, exactly.
So I'm going to put on Nerd Wonder's screen so she can show, so people start seeing some of this project that your work that's coming.
Okay, hang on. I was drawing. Okay.
Well, it showed. Mine must be getting laggy.
No.
On there.
No. I was. Wait, mine's not sharing.
You're good.
Okay, good. Okay, good. All right. Sorry. No, I jumped. I'm drawing stuff.
So is it showing now? Okay, great. So anyway, how far done would you say this is?
Well, it's. I'd say we're about 10% in. Well, the reason I say that is Brian has many of the books many of the pages penciled. He's refining them right now. Mm-hmm. The bulk of the work is going to actually be done pretty quickly because it's only a 36-page book. It's going to be done, the bulk of it probably in the next couple of weeks. We're finishing up sort of the little tweaks to the campaign to make it look a little bit better. But the script is completely finished. I've had it done for months now. So that it's letting Brian do his magic, man.
And do you have any ties to boxing or anything of that nature? Because I noticed the lead character is a boxer.
Well, yeah, he's a mixed martial artist. And actually, let me...
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
It's right here.
Let me pull my webcam up. If you can see right there's my heavy bag.
Oh, I have it on Nerd screen. It should be displaying hers right now. I'd have to pop it over to yours.
No, that's okay. But from what you guys could see in the corner is I have a heavy bag to my left. I am a boxer.
Okay.
So I love boxing. I've learned a little bit of Muay Thai as well. I really enjoy it. But I made the mistake of trying to do a Muay Thai practice with a bum knee. And so here's the story. So I go into boxing practice and our coach for the day, because it's a small gym. So the guys who are running the practices, it's a rotating staff of 3 guys who have other full-time jobs who all co-own the gym. So we do this workout routine that is pretty much cardio and leg work for an hour. And I tore my meniscus probably 5 minutes into it.
Oh,
yeah. This was last year. And what happens next is I come in for Muay Thai practice the next day. And we start learning kicks, and he's like, show me what you know so far. So I threw some elbows, threw some knees, and things like that. And he's like, all right, I want you to try a front head kick. And a front head kick is, basically your lead leg, and you roundhouse kick somebody in the side of their head. And I tried it, and my knee gave out on me. And I just flopped right to the ground. Now, thankfully, what at least kind of curbed my ego a little bit is the heavy bag that I hit swung like mad, and then came back, and I'm like, at least I still hit hard. But yeah, it was that's my experience with that is, I've done a good amount of hard sparring. I've fought, I also worked as a bouncer for and security for a hotel that was much more violent than it should have been. So, and not to mention, I also used to cover mixed martial arts as a local journalist years ago. So I know the ins and outs of it pretty well.
That's always interesting to me too, because I have a bit of a background in martial arts too. I mean, nothing major. I took several years of Mudokan Tang Sudo. I think I was my next belt was a red belt or something. I did some tournaments and things like that, and I have had. You never had that hot night where you're kicking rear, Oh
yeah,
yeah, and then I don't know about your case. I had some of those. I remember one time the sensei wanted to make sure he knocked me down a peg, and not out of meanness. He just they humble you.
Oh yeah,
and that's good because I was. Everybody I was sparring, I was beating. I beat the black belts and things. So I was on fire that night. And there was another guy who was doing really good too. And I forgot how big the class was, maybe like 16 people or something like that. He goes, let's have fun with this. He said, since you two are doing so good, let's have you two versus the rest of the class. And that really lets you know. I mean, sure, martial arts helps and stuff, but I tell you, sheer numbers sure makes a difference.
Oh, absolutely. And with me, one thing that my coach liked to do with me was he really liked to put me, because I'm a tall guy and because I've got long arms, he liked to put me against really short, fast people. So by the time I would go home, my liver would be dying because all they would do is they would weave in on me and then blast me in the liver as hard as they could. I'm like,
I have an older brother, and we used to practice and spar too. And that guy would punish my shins because I throw a lot of kicks. I was a kicker. I was really good at doing those and keeping the longer reach people away and stuff like that. But man, he would block me brutally. I mean, by the time we were done, my shins would be black and blue. But those were always fun. I'll never forget them. So, Nerd, you want to scroll on up to the top here, if you don't mind, of his page? So,
okay.
People, I think, are really digging what they see here.
I'm digging it. Dear Lord, this art is beautiful.
Yeah, look at that cover. That's the piece de resistance right now.
Nah, look at this. Look at these fighting scenes. Look how much detail.
But Micah, how could you write this? I mean, that character doesn't look like you.
Yes. So I now identify as a black man. I'm kidding. I'm not going to Sean King it. Which, by the way, nobody buys Sean King's story. He's as pale as I am. But in all seriousness, though,
Dole lady, isn't he?
Do what now?
There's that Dole lady, and she was like, what
Rachel Dolezal, yeah. I'm
Now,
too high class for spray tan, personally.
We see that cool picture there, and I've been getting a lot of this in the chat, so I want to make sure we definitely address it. Can you tell us a little bit about who the artist is and a little bit about him?
Absolutely. So Brian Martinez is my artist. He's been a friend of mine for a couple of years now. He is also kind of the man behind the action over at the Honey Badger Brigade. And yep. So I think that, and this is the funny thing about it is, I think his art was probably the one thing that people knew the least about him.
No, I didn't know about his art.
A lot of people didn't. He's an artist. Wait, yeah. Did he help? Was he the illustrator on the Honey Badger book?
I think so, and he also did all of Dave Cullen's faces for his video.
Okay. Oh.
Yep. So but I remember, I want to say it was sometime last year, he just randomly linked me to an old website of his that showed off his art. And I'm like, I think we could do something together. I really do. And then I told him about this concept I had for Englewood. And he's like, dude, I'm all over it. So yeah. So that's how that started. And I'm excited. The interesting thing about all of this is I am super excited about getting the opportunity to get into comic books. I'm even more excited for him because he's a little older than I am, and he's wanted to do this his entire life. And what really got me was he said on a live stream while he was, oddly enough, he draws the book live on his YouTube channel. he mentioned that if he could make a living off of comic books, he would weep. And I'm like, pressure's on, man.
Now,
Yeah.
I will say there was one thing that really disappointed me with this project, though. So I'm going to address that. I think it's important to address all facts. Is I do not see a chibi Englewood.
Are you trying to make me go join that contest?
Well, I'm not trying to make you do anything. I'm just saying.
Here we go, everybody. There is a contest. Hang on, I'll go down. This'll help spread the word. Check this out. There's an art contest. I think that Captain Frugal would like me to put that on my giant list of things to do.
Are you saying I was insinuating something? I can submit a stick man if that helps.
Okay, fine. If I have spare time, I'll do it.
But yeah, it's a we're doing it for 21 days. Brian and my colorist Armand Strange will be our judges, because given that like a lot of people who wanted to enter are fans of my channel, I'm like, I would be way too biased. So I wouldn't be able to make a decision. But the top 5 people who get into it, they will win a copy or they will get featured in the director's cut of the comic, which is basically a foreword by me, all 36 pages, plus all the character concepts, the original pencils, basically a sketchbook. And then I might even put the script in there too, depending on how big we want this thing. And then at the end of it will be the fan art of everybody who, gets that top 5. And we'll also put plugs for their social media on there, just, so that way they can get some exposure.
Do you think anybody would notice if I hired John Malin to draw it for me and then submit it as my own?
I would probably be able to pick out John's art out of a crowd. I won't lie.
He will draw with his left hand
while hanging upside down, half asleep.
Yeah, there we go, and he'll still make it look amazing.
Probably. Let's see, but I have Jawbreakers, and I read John the Thunderbolts run that John was on, so I know his art pretty well. So I'd probably notice it.
Yeah. I have a piece of his art on my wall as well as some other ones. So yeah, I just couldn't help it. Sorry. Bad jokes with that's not my thing. So,
good, man.
Let's talk about that. One of the things I noticed too with your project is there's really some low price points that go up and you get more. And I think that's really nice because
right now,
at a time like now with all the competition, and like you mentioned with Jawbreakers, we don't all have $35 to fork out.
But everybody
6 projects at once,
Yep.
What's that?
And another thing that really stood out to me too is every one of your tiers, the names of the tiers, they're all a pack.
Exactly. They, my editor Hatman, who's also my podcast partner, he actually had to ask me about a few of them. But yeah, that was a the decision to make it a little bit lower priced was mostly because to stay in competition. I am not a big name. Brian is not a big name. Armand is not a big name. Hatman's not a big name. So for us to ask people for like a $15 36-page comic, I thought would have come across as a little obtuse. But everybody like the most tiers that have been the Power Jab there, which is the physical copy, is, I think that $10 for 36 pages made sense, given that the most modern comic books, part of the reason that they can ship and cost as much as they do is they're running advertisements in it. I don't want advertisements. I just want a comic book straight to your door. Mm-hmm. So, and then hopefully as time goes on, we can even take prices down a little further, depending on, how things go. But yeah, that was a decision that we made. And admittedly, some of the other tiers, like the pinup poster tier, which pinup is being done right now, oddly enough, because the artist I have doing that had the flu, sadly, when the whole thing started. But Hatman has, or basically is the co-owner of a t-shirt printing shop.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. So we're able to print shirts at a much lower cost than a lot of people. So some of the higher up tiers even then are able to be, we don't have to charge you $100 for t-shirt, poster, book, digital. Like we can set it at 60 and, and still not like eat a loss at all. So
yeah, for the price point, it's a great value because, as Adam mentioned in the chat, he said prices don't matter as much as value. Always over deliver, and I think that's a good point. It's a great introductory price, and then you get to show them, hey, you might not know us, we might not be a big name, but look what we can do.
I'm still shocked that you're not a big name, dude. I knew about you before I knew you were in CG, and I was like, this mofo's in CG. Cool, man, that's a YouTuber.
So I guess from this, I need to take away. I'm taking notes that my first price point shouldn't have been $100. Yep. The last tier is 1,000. Is take the mask off, a-hole.
Mine is to say horrible, horrible curse words if we meet a third stretch goal. Horrible curse words that we will play audio.
So anyway, in the overview of your book says corruption and Chicago are two words that go hand in hand. Do you have any affiliation with Chicago here that make you think that, or is just from what you read and you see?
I lived there for a while, and
it's right here.
Yep, and I still live. I just live south of Chicago now, about a couple hours south. But I lived in Chicago for a good chunk of my childhood, up until like 10, 11 years old. And, since then I go back, I still have friends there, go back and visit, things like that. And wherever you are in Illinois, Chicago has an imprint on it. You can't avoid it. Right. The reason that our taxes are so high is because of Chicago.
Yeah.
Oh,
Illinois taxes suck. I wish I lived in Texas, but
come and join me. It's a great place.
Though I will say I loved having my band play in Chicago. We loved playing there. That was just a really fun place to play. Oh
yeah. It's a great city, great people, crappy politicians.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. It's basically the people who run the joint suck. They always suck.
Are they like Kingpin?
Like they kind of feel like a real life Kingpin, because like the whole Jussie Smollett thing. Yeah. That felt like a Wilson Fisk move. Like, that felt like something out of like The Wire. Like it's like, what on earth just happened?
Gotta walk, and I saw the Chicago police. They looked pissed, and I'd be very pissed too, because they were like, you could solve some murders, but no, we had to put everything down for this guy.
Yeah, for this D-bag.
It's like we got bad guys running around, and you took our time.
Yeah. So Project of Love, you've been working on for over 3 years, for 36 pages. That's awesome. If you don't mind, I think we should talk about some of these tiers. That way people can know what's in them. So the $5 quick jab, I love that for $5. Quick jab. I'm just the way these were titled. I love it. A digital copy of Englewood comic, all 32 pages of it, including the prequel story and the full issue 1. And it includes the digital.
Yep. That gives you everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very, very rich story too. I don't decompress. My comics are written old school. There's
I love
old
school.
Page.
I love old school. I actually do prefer the old way of writing in comics.
I do as well, because nowadays I can read a comic in like 5 minutes. It's like this was $3.99.
I want to know what you'd probably like, Captain Frugal. I don't know if you read manga at all, but go read JoJo.
People keep trying to get me to read manga, and I just haven't done it yet.
Okay, hear me out. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is literally narrated like an old school comic book. Like, I was watching the anime, and they're like, and then JoJo used his ability to, and I was like, oh my god, this is like a dang comic book.
Oh yeah, it definitely has that old school feel. But I wrote an article for Bleeding Fool about Chris Claremont's Captain Marvel. Or not Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
And it took me so much longer to read through some of those stories, but they were so rich.
Yes. That's why I tell people Captain Marvel used to be really good. It's why it pisses me off she's so crappy now.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they just have politics did you hear what Jim Shooter did when they showed him the new She-Hulk?
Yes, I did.
He was not happy. And
I did not hear about that. So this story I need to hear.
All right. So I think a friend of ours got to go meet him and showed him. It's like, so you know anything about going on with Marvel or something like that? And they showed him the one of the new comics, and it was the new one with She-Hulk demanding that she gets to stay ugly, and he got pissed.
I would too.
I would too. Like, honestly, this is I'm sorry. She was literally as a little girl. I looked up to her. I was like, she's so cool. And now she's just a big mean bully that looks like one of the people that would just beat me up and try and steal my lunch money and call me a freak at
To
school.
be fair, I'm going to say they're in the Avengers. They are making some reference to that why this is happening. So who knows? This may be reversed.
I don't care. I want her back because she's just a mean sourpuss because some guy was the guy that makes whatever her name is, that one lady from Thor into Mary Sue Thor, and then he's like, girl power, I'm so alone, please love me.
Oh, Jason Aaron. Yeah.
I'm like, do you have a wife? Is it okay at home? Because I've been noticing that you writers at Marvel tend to put your own physical lives into the damn comics and you suck at it. Sorry, your life sucks.
I am really glad that you wrote that article for Bleeding Cool, though, because I read that. It's like, finally, other people are seeing it, not just me, saying that Captain Marvel was actually a cool character. She wasn't a Mary Sue. She had a different kind of backstory, and they completely retconned it and changed it and ruined the whole thing.
Oh,
She's
absolutely.
now knock off Superman. Your name is Marvel, daughter of
Right. It rewrote her whole, and it doesn't make any sense then in her run because she had issues because of that and things.
Yeah.
And so it made no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, they're trying to erase the memory of the character of Marvel as well, and that really, really annoys me. Being such a fan of that character when Starlin wrote him, and was, of course, he was an Avenger, and he was a staple Avenger back in the 70s. So it's so frustrating.
And he went out in a way that made you care too.
Oh yeah, the death of Captain Marvel will make you weep. It is probably. It's hard to say what Jim Starlin's best work is. I would have to say it's probably a three-way tie between the death of Captain Marvel, Infinity Gauntlet, and the Thanos Quest. Like, those three books are just amazing. So
I feel really bad for him, by the way.
For me too. So I have a signed copy of the Thanos Quest from Jim. And Hatman was the one who got it for me. Aww. And what happened was, apparently Hatman was the only guy who went over to Jim Shooter's booth. Not Jim Shooter, but Jim Starlin, rather, to Jim Starlin's booth, because everybody was at Tom King's.
What the fuck?
I know, right? So, but apparently he told Jim about me, and Jim gave me some words of encouragement when it comes to this sort of thing. And also, he told me, so I also knew the opening of Endgame before everybody else knew the opening of Endgame because of him. So that was pretty awesome. So when I finally get to meet him in person, I am going to give him a huge handshake and thank him for inspiring me for all these years.
That's amazing.
I think he needs that.
Yeah, it's anybody in the chat, if you're at a convention and Jim Starlin is there, go say hi.
He Seriously. Needs a hug. He's been screwed over, and that's so unfair.
Too much. And whenever I meet him, I'm going to encourage him to go crowdfunding.
I want him to go kick so much ass.
Maybe they thought it was a Tom King urinal. They're all.
I don't even know.
I don't mind Tom King's writer, but it's like, you don't treat damn Sterling like trash, okay?
Yeah,
pay him.
Tom Brevoort hates him apparently.
Tom Brevoort makes sense. That scummy monster. He disowned his own son.
Yeah, he's a dick.
He is beyond scumbag. I can't stand him. If he and Quesada were gone from Marvel tomorrow,
Yes!
Sana Amanat,
Yes!
everybody would be so much better.
Salmon Almanac? That's his new name, or saw a salmon almond hat. I can't decide.
Well, and I think I can say this today, but the majority, and I mean vast majority of today's books, don't hold anything close to the value of the older books. How they're written, the stories, the characterization, it's just not there.
Yeah.
Heck, the artwork isn't there either.
It is.
There's not a lot of books that really have high-end art in them anymore. Like Spider-Man will sometimes get some good artists.
Mhm.
Like what pisses me off is they don't have Ryan Otley on that book all the time.
Yeah, his art on that's really good.
Ryan Otley was born to draw Spider-Man.
I think that the thing was, I think I was told, because I have friends in the crawl space.
Mm-hmm.
One of my friends is a reviewer on the crawl space, and he said that I think he explained to me, I'm not sure, I could be wrong, that Otley can't do a month, like bi-monthly. He can do monthly, but he can't do bi-monthly. So they got somebody else, which was the guy that did Superman Rebirth, my favorite freaking series. God damn it, why'd you take it away, Bendis? But he's going to be illustrating the other months. So they're going to go back and forth, which I am absolutely fine with. Otley is a real class act. I love him. He is so friendly. If you follow him on Twitter, he always showcases some really fun art.
Oh yeah. And Invincible was an amazing book.
Oh yeah.
I have it. I just haven't read it yet.
I have only read a few issues. I mean, I think I've only read one issue, and I was like, "Wow, this is really good." And
it's intense.
I know that there were groups of people that have desperately wanted to make it into a movie. I think Seth Rogen is the hugest fan, so he bought the rights immediately, and he's been desperately trying to make that into a film.
Yeah, he's gonna. And I don't know if Rogan's the right person to do it, because I didn't really like Preacher, the TV series. I love the comic. I didn't really like the TV series that Rogan did.
Oh, I didn't know he did that.
He did that.
My folks really liked Preacher, and I did not really see it. It wasn't my cup of tea, but they were like really into it. So I should go tell them and watch my dad go, "What?
Yeah,
that's an idiot. That stupid idiot."
But no, Invincible is one of those books that when you pick it up, you can't put it down. Cool. It's really good. One thing I will warn is that it is surprisingly gory.
That's what I heard.
That's one thing I've always been surprised about with it. It's like you look at the art, you look at the covers, you don't expect that when you open it up, it's going to be something as mature as it is.
Dude, I found out Otley wrote a whole entire series called Grizzly Shark and Sea Bear.
Yes,
so I am totally so I was like, yeah, he probably does do gory stuff. I mean, I must find this book. I must find that. I don't think you understand how much I'm in love with this idea of a freaking bear from the sea.
Now, Micah, somebody wanted me to ask you about I think it was Dragon Maids or something like that.
Oh God!
Oh, I didn't know you were into Kobayashi.
I'm not. So
I don't even know what Dragon Maids are. Just for the record,
there's a story behind
Kobayashi.
Yeah. So the story behind this is, and this is something that kind of drives me nuts about my own life, is I have really bad anxiety, and I have really, not really bad depression, but it does hit me from time to time. Mm-hmm. So whenever I have these sort of depressive episodes, what I'll do is I will kind of just go into my bedroom, sit on my bed and watch something. I don't care what it is, but I will binge watch it for no reason. At some point, it was Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. And after I finished it, I'm like, what the hell did I just watch?
You were not a fan.
No, because it's not the sort of thing I like. I like big action and stuff like that. I'm not really like
into cute comedy slice.
Yeah, I've been
Azumanga.
Yeah, it's like the people have like ex-girlfriends of mine have always said that I'm a hopeless romantic. Not in the media I consume at all. Like, cutesy stuff does not happen.
Now, the next tier, speaking of not cutesy stuff, is the Power Jab.
Yes.
Physical copy of the book, all 32 pages of it, includes the prequel story and the full issue #1 for only $10. So.
Yeah, and one thing to mention, that page count is actually wrong. It's
Okay.
actually supposed to be 36, not 32.
Okay. So 36, even better. And then you went with the Jab combo, which is $15. And I think is what it says, a physical and digital copy of the book. So you get both of those.
Both.
I think I like that one because then I can easily read it with the tablet when I don't want to have all the lights on. And
But then we hit you with a counterpunch.
The counterpunch, a physical copy of the Englewood director's cut. This version includes the prequel story, the full issue 1, preliminary sketches, and a foreword by the author, and the art from the contest winners. So that's where you got to start getting your stuff in there for the contest to get in there.
Yep.
Once again, only $15. Do you want to read the next one, nerd? Since everyone loves your voice.
Next, we have a range-finding jab. And it's 2, count them, 2 physical copies of Englewood comic. 1 for you, 1 for a friend, unless, of course, you're something of a collector and would rather keep a pristine copy for yourself. So pretty much 2 for a pretty nice price. Let's see here. What the physical is
10.
Yeah, it just said. So yeah.
I'm going to say I've never heard a jab make the pew sound.
Everything makes pews with me. Or the hook. The hook, line, and sinker, everybody. A physical copy of the Englewood Director's Cut, digital copy of Englewood comic. And so yeah, it comes with the digital and director's cut. Always good. Love it. You get the physical of the director's cut, but a digital of the regular comic. Not a bad price, not a bad choice at all. You get both. Lovely.
And yes, Amiga Arts, the fan art contest should be calling you. Do it.
Do it. Oh, sorry. I have to go for the overhand. This one comes with something brand new. This is not on any of the other tiers. It is the pinup poster featuring Angelica, one of Elijah's star pupils.
So how old is Angelica?
She is 24 years old. Oddly enough, Brian just sketched her today. Let me go ahead and pull that up and send it to you guys real quick.
Send it.
She is the babe of it, and the difference that you will notice something different about her physically than a lot of other babes, I guess you could say, in comicsgate books.
I'm going to stop presenting Nerd's screen for a second in case she wants to pull that open. Look, did she just fall over? There. So at least on my screen it's still showing it, but I probably got lag. But I told it not to just be focused on yours, Nerd. So if you get that up there and you want to share that picture, if you don't mind.
Let's see here. Hang on. I gotta find it. All right. Oh, wait. It is here in the group chat. Sorry.
Yep.
Open a new tab.
Now in the meantime, the Holy Ninja said, which you can get the cover instead of the pinup. For those who don't want the pinup.
Yeah, if you don't want the pinup, the artist who is doing it is a fan of my channel named Chris. If you don't want a pinup poster for whatever reason, then you don't have to get it. You can just email us and say, "Hey, I'd much prefer the cover instead."
All right, Nerd, your screen is up and live again. Just so you know.
So Angelica is the character on the right, and there's
And these faces are so good.
Yep. So her thing is that she was already a world-class striker before she entered Elijah's gym. She was a world champion in Taekwondo when she was a teenager, and started learning Muay Thai as well, and then came to that to also to learn more about martial arts and things like that. So she wanted to learn from a world champ. There are other characters that are part of the gym that Elijah runs. The guy on the left, Echo, he's Elijah's tech guy. He's also one of his students. But Angelica is his best. She is a ridiculously good fighter in regards to what she does. The the kicker is, of course, she's a smaller person. She's only like 5'5", I think. But no, 5'6". So when it comes to the grappling things, she has zero experience. So that's always been something that she's had issues with. But there's already people in the chat saying she's Micah's type.
Yeah.
Oh, look, and it's what's interesting as well. Toughest character is a woman. Wow, what's that whole entire narrative about us?
Well, and just for the record too, her hair is short, and that's that you need that. If you're a fighter, you should have short hair.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's one thing you'll notice, like with women's MMA, is they will oftentimes either pull their hair back in a ponytail or they will have it cornrowed. Not to try to look a certain way, but it's because it keeps it from getting grabbed.
Right. Yeah, never want to get in a long fight with long hair. It's just a mistake.
Yeah, big time.
Let's see. Darth Bobcat said that Micah Curtis, the problem, Micah, is that you don't like cute stuff, but you're also a capitalist whore who will play anything if we give you money.
That's kind of true.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with capitalism. That's how you do it. That's what Marvel and DC's problem seems to be, is they are actually not listening to their audience. Instead, they're preaching to them.
Well, the issue is as well that they believe that they're like, we are the little monkeys and we will dance no matter what they pull out. Like, they'll just do it because we have our name on the box.
Pretty much. But admittedly, though, like one thing that I set out to do with the character of Angelica, a lot of this book, like the subconscious behind it, has been everything that the people at Marvel and DC say that they're doing. I can actually do it honestly and better.
Anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you, which you can.
One thing they'll say, like they'll always say, it's like, oh, other like women's body types aren't represented, blah blah blah. Well, you look at Angelica here. She doesn't have a big bust. She's wide in the hips. She looks feminine still, but she's also athletic. It's one of those things where it's like, I can take this character type that you say you're trying to do with Carl Manvers. I can actually make it look attractive. Don't at me. Don't even try with me.
No, I believe you 100%. She absolutely can be attractive. There was no reason for them to do a lot of what they've done with her. You can be feminine and be very strong, just like in this picture. She's muscular. She's toned. You know that she's in great physical shape, and so if she's trained, she's going to throw down. But yet you can easily tell that's a female.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
And she doesn't need a Greg Land face to do it.
Exactly.
Nerd, I guess maybe we should go back to the main page. You think? Do you want me to take it off your screen, or?
No, well, I can go back to it. Hang on.
All right.
I'm sorry.
It'll be our pinup model, though. So,
see, I couldn't do this without Nerd. Nerd's the one that keeps us all running together. I'm just the idiot that once in a while pushes the button to start it.
I just am here for commentary and being told what to do.
I'm not telling you what to do. I'm asking you.
Okay.
There's a difference. Now get on it.
Okay. I'm not getting paid enough.
Or I'm going to use one of these techniques. Is there the backhand on here? No.
All right. So the next one we got is the cross. It comes with not only the Englewood comic, it's physical, by the way. We get a T-shirt. I think it's a T-shirt. It just says,
yes.
Yeah, it's a T-shirt. Okay, yeah. Very nice.
And I'm wondering if Hatman actually put the image of it in there. Oh yeah, if you go to updates, it's you can see what the shirt design is.
Yeah, let's go to updates right now. Okay, hang on. A T-shirt.
Oh, there we go.
Yep, the tagline is that a hero is born in blood. And it's sort of my pretentious preening about how heroes come to be, is like a lot of characters that become heroes, they're born of tragedy. And Elijah's no different.
Sweet.
Very cool.
T-shirt.
And does that come in all sizes?
Sure.
Yes. It does, actually. We're able to get just about anything, including extra tall.
Nice.
Sweet.
So there. Get one for your family. Have your whole family wear it together.
Exactly.
T-shirt. Sorry, I like T-shirts. And next up, we got an uppercut. it does not come with a t-shirt, but it comes with the awesome pinup poster and the director's cut. Of course, that's also physical.
If you get the uppercut, you get a
Hard
pinup
copy.
poster of Elijah's star pupils. Star pupil. Take that as you will.
Not a bad idea. I think that's a pretty
This
good
is a family channel. What have I done?
Well, luckily Little Frugal ain't here.
Nah, it's pupils. There's nothing wrong with pupils.
Then we got the cross counter. Wah! And that one comes with t-shirt, 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 and director's cut. I like t-shirts. Sorry.
I'm a fan as well. So.
No, and also the director's cut will be physical. So you don't need to. So yeah, that's always I actually really think that's a great idea, is to give one of those things along with the t-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
I love t-shirts.
Oh, yeah.
But,
so just remember, if it's not just a copy for you, if you know somebody that needs a gift, right, you can get them a t-shirt and a comic book.
Or if you can't decide which one you want, just go to the last one. Look, it's only $60 and you get everything. You get a digital copy of the book. You get the physical copy of the book. You get it's the director's cut. Sorry. You get the pinup and you get the t-shirt. I mean, that's a pretty good deal, man.
Yeah.
T-shirts are usually like $25. Comics like this are usually $15. And then, of course, pinups are usually an extra $10. And then, of course, because you have a digital, that's usually the same amount, depending on who the society gives it to you. Stuff. So, yeah, that's a pretty good deal. And we go all the way back up, guys. I mean, we got that, and it's still not fun. I'm very disappointed. We need to do more.
That's right. Well, once again, it is going up against stiff competition.
Well, you want to know what? No, it doesn't matter. We can do it. We can.
Oh yeah.
Do it.
I'm not saying we can't. I'm saying we gotta promote it then, right?
We're gonna promote the heck out of this.
Yeah. And you've been around in this circle for a long time. I think people need to give you a chance.
Yeah.
Jump in, and you've taken a lot of heat. I'm sure anybody that aligns themselves with any anti-major establishment, it's going to take some heat.
Oh yeah. Admittedly, I get it less than other people, but I think also with me, I kind of handle drama way differently than a lot of other people do. I actually, the first thing that always gets thrown at me, I actually don't respond immediately. I just listen. There was a point where Captain Cummings and I had a falling out, and what basically. Yeah, which was unfortunate, and I'm hopefully someday, I don't know what he's doing these days. I heard that he, to put it in video game terms, went home and became a family man, which is good because.
Yeah, he's actually, he's in college. That's mostly, so he's been just focusing solely on school.
Good. I'm actually happy to hear that for him because I was, I want the best for everybody, and I liked him. I thought he was a good dude, But yeah, he took something that I had said. I think somebody told him that I was talking trash about him when I wasn't. And he got really mad at me. And I just said, like, dude, I'm not playing this game with you. If you really if this was an issue that you cared that much about, you would have DM'd me. It's like we've talked before. For the love of God, man. Like, we've been friendly. Why are you, like, starting YouTube drama? It came across as kind of cynical. So I don't buy into it. And I always encourage other people not to buy into it either because it can really drown you.
Oh, yeah. I try to stay away from a lot of the fights. I know they're popular. I know they get views and things like that. I only call out things that I do drama ones once in a while, but only when I feel like there's a reason I need to do it. I have a connection to it or something. Otherwise, drama brings you down. Like I said, it really does. You can only do so much, and it tugs you down at your soul.
It's boring.
Yeah.
Y'all don't know any taste if you just like drama.
And then too, we have so much more that we have in common that we can talk about that we enjoy. Sure, we can discuss the things that we don't agree, but we have so much more we do. Why don't we focus a little bit more on that once in a while?
Yeah, and when there are disagreements, like and this is the one thing I always tell people on the internet is like you're allowed to have civil disagreements. Like you're allowed to disagree on things. Because like there was I remember there was a big hullabaloo when the comic historian started to kind of commentate on culture and comic books, and that he didn't like the way the comics were kind of going. And I got pissed at him about it. You know what, man? I can't blame him because politics suck. So I'm like, get away from that. But there were people who disagreed with me. Mim Hedrum was one of them, and we had a civil disagreement. We talked about it, and it's all good,
Yeah.
I like Mim.
Mim's good people.
Yeah.
Absolutely. As I said, and I keep saying this, and I say this a lot, and I say it because I mean it, is we don't agree on everything as a group. A whole lot of us together in this, whatever you want to call it nowadays, people call these, comicsgate, Teamcomics, whatever it is. But you know what? Sure, there's maybe some people that fly off the handle easily and things like that. But you look, most of the people in this group, if you will, are just amazing, caring people.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, a constant outpour for a small channel of how much people care and the things they'll say and contact you or send you and things. It's just it's crazy, and I mean that in a good way. It's like I'm a nobody,
You're a somebody, Frugal. You just don't know it.
It's just it's amazing, and it's these wonderful people. It's just truly amazing.
Yeah, I agree completely. And one thing that has kind of really comforted me with like this whole thing was I was worried getting into this that it would be really cutthroat. Because with all the good comics that are out there right now that people are considering, putting their money towards it, we are competing in a sense, but it's been friendly competition. Adam Post is in the chat. He's doing, his book College of the Dead. In a sense, he and I are in competition, but he's been very friendly to me and given me pointers. And he's more experienced than I am. You've got other people that are Comicsgate people. Cal Jameson, he's got Shinobi Sasquatch doing really well.
Yeah,
got Von Klaus, who's doing, and he just messaged me out of nowhere, and he's like, "Dude, I've been a fan of your videos for ages. I've been following you for years." He's like, "I am so excited to have you a part of this." I'm like,
"Yeah,
me?
No,
but I'm just a dude."
No, dude. Like, as I was saying before, when I found out you joined, I was like, oh man, we gotta be cool now. We got YouTubers. It's like, what? It's like, yeah, this guy's like legit, yo. We're just a bunch of, like, I know we're YouTubers, but all we talk about are comics. He talks about legit stuff that people actually like. It's cool. How do we talk to cool people?
But no, in all seriousness though, and it was like it's really humbling for like Ethan Van Sciver to become a friend of mine. For Richard to become a friend of mine. It's really, really humbling because these guys are. You think I'm doing pretty well. Like these guys are super successful, and they talk to me and they're like, we want to help build you up. We want to get you in this. We want you to be a part of this. Mm-hmm. And I'm just sitting here like, oh my God, this is my life right now. Like this, if you told me this was going to happen even 3 years ago, I'd been like, fuck off. Pardon my French, but it's like,
right.
It's crazy, but
you're now part of an indie comic rebellion.
I'm not one of those people who are going to say this would have never happened without Comicsgate, because it could have. But the events and things with the comics critics and things, that got deemed Comicsgate or other different things they call them, I think created an opening and an understanding that, hey, there is an avenue for this. And it helped people realize there is another market out there. There is other ways to do it. And then the networking, getting together and talking. I mean, like we talked to Douglas Ernst not long ago, and he aligned himself with great talent that knew what they were doing. So you line yourself up with somebody that, because maybe you don't know all the ins and outs of the business like somebody else has done it, so now they can help you and build you on that. And there's so many people in business and things that will hide those things because they don't want the competition. But in this group, it's like everybody's very open. You contact them, hey, who are you using for printing? Who are you finding for this and that? Or who might be a good artist that fits this? And it's amazingly open and people out there and kind. It's just phenomenal.
It is. I really do love that. How I would go into chat rooms and everybody's like, all right, everybody, I found a really good printer. And then they would have conversations about like how to negotiate. And I was like, this is so cool. I have no clue what's going on. This is really cool. Why am I invited here? I'm not cool. That's how I feel all the time.
It's a trip. It really is. Like I'm still shocked by it. I'm still surprised by the direction that my life has gone. I was, and this is hopefully this doesn't drag the mood down, but a couple of years ago, I was completely consigned to the idea that I was just going to work a dead end job until the day I croak, and then this happened, and then I got encouragement from different people at different times. I remember still, I don't know if John Malin's still hanging around, but I remember when he and Richard and Brett did when Jawbreakers hit.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember because it was not too long after Hurricane Harvey. So I was down in Texas at the time working security. And I just remember reading that, and I DM'd Richard. I'm like, what? Really? And he's like, yeah, man, I've been planning this for a while. He's like, we got to, it's like, why not? Why not try to get back into the market? Why not? There's an opening there, and DC and Marvel don't care about it. Why not go straight for the market share? And that kind of, in a way, because, I love how Ethan, and he's spot on with this, because he and I have talked about it before, is there are phases to Comicsgate. There's the first phase, which was you had the critics. You had you and me, Frugal, and then you've got Douglas Ernst, Captain Cummings, and of course our boy Zach, and some others I'm probably forgetting. And just basically highlighting the madness of what's going on in comic books and how crazy it's become. And it resonated with people. But I don't, and this is, I think, a fair criticism, is that it didn't really initiate change. The big two didn't care what we had to say. They didn't. They were set on what they wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And they weren't going to do anything different.
Well, I will say they might not have cared what we said, but they sure wanted to shut us down.
Oh yeah, no. I was about to say that it was like they were against what we said.
Yeah,
but if you notice, we did hit a nerve.
Oh yeah, I mean, there was meetings with names brought up that we need to shut this person down.
Yeah, like and then like you're being hunted down, Frugal. Like even before the YouTube scene, like Dan Slott's like, I need this man who wears a Captain America mask. I will put him to justice. And I'm just sitting here and I'm like, well, this is totally mature and professional.
Shinobi Raccoon brought up other ones like Angle Teen, Underground Geek, Just Some Guy, Weaponized Nerd Rage. Yeah, there a ton of them just started bringing up Spike.
I stopped after a while. I should go back. I mean, I'm on here. Does that count?
It really caused a stir, like you were saying in that phase.
Yeah. I mean, the first video that I did, the one that I still say made my channel what it is I said it was basically a very simple statement. Social justice doesn't sell. That video has like over 500,000 views on it, and it, and now oddly enough, YouTube has made it to where it's very hard to find in searches. You have to search the exact title of it. Yeah. If it's even like a character off, you won't find it. You have to find it by going to my channel and looking for it.
That's so lame.
I know. It's there. YouTube does not like me. And
YouTube doesn't like all the cool people.
Yeah. I have a feeling that video struck a nerve.
I have a feeling YouTube's about to get some competition. I don't know where. I don't know who. But somebody's going to make it. Somebody's going to make YouTube for everybody else.
Yeah. But but after that, I really felt like, the way that markets work, and this is me getting my big brain out, is the way markets work is, there's two ways to go about it. If somebody does not satisfy you in the market, you have two things. You can take your business elsewhere or just pull it away and be vocal about it with a boycott. It might it might have an effect. It might not make an effect. The next thing you do, if that doesn't work, you either get into the market yourself and create a better product, or you support the people that can.
Well, I've also often told people, invest and start in what pisses you off. You are more passionate about it, and you tend to be successful because there's reasons you don't like it. There's things that maybe it's because they aren't done right, or you could do better, or you see that there's people out there clamoring for it and nobody's answering. And so then you provide that. And then you find out, wow, there was a market for this.
Exactly. I mean, that's what I'm finding, obviously. I've had people telling me that they're pissed off about the way certain comics are going. It's like, we don't have an alternative here. I'm like, now you do.
That's right.
Yeah, like honestly, I find myself going more to these indies like every day. I'm just looking forward to the mail, and specifically just to get my comics, because I'm like, yes, I got it. Like, just like every single comic I back, I'm just in love with. Like every single one of them. And we have a huge selection, and we're going to get more and more. Like, honestly, I've had somebody DM me and is asking, you know a lot about different Indiegogos that are going around. Do you mind giving me a selection based on my preferences? And I think you're the one that I got to give them to, because they asked for specific stuff that I think this may be up their alley.
Please do. Say the kicker, I think, is always going to be just the willingness to compete, and the willingness to. One thing I will admit is you got to have a little bit of an ego to get into it, just a touch. Like for me, I said to myself, it's like I have to be willing to get into the market the way that I want to get into the market, and I have to be willing to be better than the people who are doing street level. Now, granted, being better than Ta-Nehisi Coates at comic books is not hard.
No. You can leave a crap in the toilet, you win.
Yeah, like people, if you have been disappointed by Black Panther and Captain America, by Englewood, you all of a sudden you'll be like, why does this white person write black people better than Ta-Nehisi Coates does?
I think that there was somebody that stated it the best way ever. That they're like, look at this man, look at this, and it was like one of those. And I think it was a Ta-Nehisi Coates comic. Maybe it was like the West Coast Avengers or the Champions or whatever. He goes, if this idiot can make a comic, holy F, we can too.
Oh yeah,
There was a YouTube video. I wish I could find it again. And that was literally that. He goes, oh my gosh, thank you so much. You have inspired me. I realized that if crap like yours gets published, why am I afraid?
I'm wondering if that was me.
Maybe that was you.
It might have been me, honestly.
I liked it. I should go find it. It probably was. And I was like, oh, this is the best cause.
And don't take this the wrong way. Nirvana did that too for music. It's because I mean, Nirvana, let's be honest, was not very complex. And you could learn a couple power chords and you could pretty much replicate most of their stuff. Not saying it wasn't good. They found a way to be something simplistic and do something good that you enjoyed, but that made you go, oh my gosh, I can do this too. I don't have to know every chord out there and every scale and be the next Van Halen.
Honestly, it's just this community is amazing, and I always every day look forward to a brand new comic. And it's like I don't need to worry about not having anything to read. My biggest issue is picking what to read now.
And speaking about moving forward, so since this project's out here, what's next for you? What do you think?
The next thing after this one, we're going to continue moving forward with the books that we're doing. We're going to have, obviously the planning stages of Englewood #2 will start. And we're on this one, we're kind of gauging the market. We're kind of seeing what people want. What do people want? Do people want monthlies? Because if people say, I want Englewood every month in my delivered to me, or I want to get it every month on Comixology or something like that, then we'll do it. We'll make a monthly comic book. If the money, if we continue to make good money off of it, if I can continue to pay my artists, we'll do it into perpetuity. Because really speaking, I mean, we only have to sell, we're at 133 backers now, so we really only have to sell about 300 comics to make a goal. So if we're selling 500, 600, 700, 800 per month, which by the way is better numbers than Mags Visaggio's getting.
True. and she got a TV deal.
I know, right?
You have a chance.
Yeah, but if that doesn't work out, like, because we would need a publisher. I won't lie. We would need a publishing house to kind of back us up on that, because it would help keep costs down.
Yeah.
We will be pitching this comic probably to a couple of different publishers to see if they're interested. And ones that aren't anti-fan either. Like, we are not going to pitch this to Image. Image doesn't seem to like money anymore.
Yeah, ever since we found out what happened to several people in our group when they went, one of the saddest stories was when they showcased Maneater. Somebody posted it on their Twitter and goes, they told me my comic concept was too bizarre to be taken seriously and refused to publish it. They published this.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, that is the saddest thing I've ever heard in my life. And so, honestly, they used to be a big house, like you said. But yeah, like a lot of people are going to Alterna, which is amazing. And Antarctic Press.
Considered them. We've considered Antarctic Press. One that I have my eye on is Cautionary Comics.
Okay.
Because
ooh, yeah.
And I've met now 3 of the 4 people who run it. I still haven't met Mike Barron yet. But I know Chuck, I know Brett. Just recently got the chance to talk to Ben. Ben and I have been like chatting back and forth on Twitter.
Ben is a really great guy.
He's
like
awesome. I love Ben.
Genuine. He is genuine. Like if there was ever a reincarnation of Stanley, that's got to be him.
Oh yeah, he's got the same like love of comic books that Stan does.
I mean, look at he's just gonna be this iconic guy one day, like in stuff. Like you'll see the cowboy hat, and everybody's gonna be like, "It's Hennessy."
Yep, he's all happiness, and I mean, sure, he's got anger in him once in a while. Everybody does, but he promotes a very positive image. It just seems like a genuine, happy guy. And
I kind of want to see him go to a con riding a horse or something like that. Just like going at that like people would love it. Maybe not a horse because they heard they kick people if you get too close and crowd.
I think he's got to do something more crazy, something you'd expect from Florida Man.
Oh, okay.
Florida Man route.
Oh yeah, that's right. He is making a Florida Man comic. I think they're publishing it, which I am so stoked about. Florida Man the comic
of him jumping a car on an alligator.
I mean, I think that was the cover, right?
Yes. It's amazing.
It's so good.
Have you ever put your birthday in Google or whatever and type Florida Man and see what comes up?
No.
You should do that because for every day of the year, there's like something that was in the press for a Florida Man doing something crazy.
Calendar. There should be a Florida Man calendar out there. Those tear off ones, and it should just be like every single day should be a new like from the past 2 years Florida Man or something like that, like showing the date.
Oh God! What did a Florida Man offer an undercover cop in exchange for sex?
Just say.
There's one where they actually managed to get a threesome with a female cop and did not get frustrated.
See, it's crazy, isn't it?
I just posted my birthday. There's the Florida Man times. Florida Man behind 100 million robocalls hit with huge FCC fine.
See, I think you could make a series of Florida Man and just check that and come up and have so many ideas of things you could spin stories off of.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But
definitely not pitching to Image, which is unfortunate because there's a spirit of Todd McFarlane in this comic because I'm taking
you're inspired
stuff that I loved and then putting my own spin on it with doing something that a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, a few people have given me flack for, a handful of people, for making a black lead.
Really?
Yeah.
Why does that matter?
Now, here's the thing. It was nobody worth mentioning. Like, though, granted, I have a feeling that they were all Vox Day fans. So, but like a couple people said to me, it's like, oh, you're bringing a black character? Why are you doing that? And I said, you don't seem to understand. It's the problem that comicsgate was highlighting was never the race of the characters. That was not the problem because you got people who would praise characters like Storm, War Machine, Spawn, and others.
Yes.
Right.
The problem was forcing it on people. In this story, it makes sense for my lead character to be black. Because he's from Chicago. Mm-hmm. He's a martial. He's an MMA fighter. He was a collegiate wrestler prior to that. He's going to be a black guy if he's coming from Chicago. Like that's just going to be the way that it is. It would feel weird if he was anything else. And but there's other books that I'm writing. The one that I'm doing about the Crusaders coming home 3 nights, 4 days. Like that's set in Europe. It's all white people. Yeah. But that's because it makes sense for where it's at.
Unless you're part of the anti-Kingdom Come Deliverance crowd who was where are the black people? It's Dark Age Europe.
Yeah, oddly enough, around the time that was in development, I talked to Daniel Vavra, the head designer of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was interviewing him for an article at Tech Raptor, and I just asked him about it, just off the record. And he's just like, I have no idea what they want from me.
You mean the journalists or?
Yes, he's like, I don't know what they want.
They were just super mad because, like, from what I heard, it was because they found out one person that made the game, one person in the programming department was pro GG, or at least had views that seemed to be pro GG, and everybody's like, you have to fire them, and then everybody else is looking around like, he's really good at his job, and he's not being a dick or anything. It's like, you have to fire him for his beliefs. Why? And they were like, and it's so funny because that game sold over 1 million copies from what I recall. I actually own one of them, and I during the Steam summer sale I bought the DLC.
Yep. Say the what's it? Oh, one thing from the chat there. I'm actually the bad guys in 3 Nights 4 Days are not Celts. They are Brits. But the inspiration for their design came from ancient Celtic cultures and oh god, the old Britons. I always forget their name. Went into battle very scantily clad. Because I remember reading a story about this ancient cult that the Romans encountered when they first entered Britain, where there were druids that were kind of their holy men.
Yeah.
And what they would do is in combat, because the Romans used the phalanx formation, is they would have their spears out. The frontline men, because they were basically brainwashed, is they would jump on the spears of the Romans.
Oh my gosh.
To kill themselves, but all kind of like a kamikaze attack in hopes of breaking the spear, so that the person behind them could rip the shield off and kill the person behind it.
Oh my. Wow.
It might have been the Celts, but there was a different name for that, and I can't remember them. But I remember they would paint themselves in woad, that blue stuff that you saw in Highlander. Not Highlander. Mel Gibson movie.
Freedom.
Freedom.
They'll take our lives, but they'll never take.
Yeah, but they would paint themselves head to toe in that, and I thought to myself, it's like, wouldn't it be kind of an interesting idea? Because one of the big inspirations for that book is Berserk. To kind of go with a tone that reminded me of the Conviction arc in a lot of ways, of this cult that exists that, for some reason, combat and pain bring them pleasure.
Oh yeah, that was a really good arc, and it just it opened up that character so much. It's just like, you had problems from day one.
Oh yeah. So I wanted to do something like that, to have this cult of men who are driven mad by a witch, and it's sort of like the 13th Warrior like that. But instead of going like feigning supernatural and it actually not being supernatural, I go full supernatural.
Oh shit!
Like there are demons, like there's stuff like that, like something like you would see in the Evil Dead. It's gonna be a crazy book.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Well, so you have a lot going forward. So I challenge people, hey, if this book isn't for you and you watch this, maybe share it with somebody it might be for.
Mm-hmm.
Right? At least check it out, see what you think, spread the word for others. Maybe you can't get it today, maybe you can get it tomorrow. Who knows? Consider it maybe as a good gift. If you know people that like comic books, the price point's really good, might make a great gift for somebody or for several people.
Mm-hmm.
So, at least give it a check out. Check out the site and give it a chance. Let's make this book successful. I know it's going up against a lot of competition right now.
Yeah.
But
by the way, if you are hesitant for any reason and you have questions about the book, feel free to ask me on Twitter. I will answer questions all day about the stuff that I work on. I'm more than happy to do so.
Hell yeah.
Now I'm going to ask you one weird question, because I said we've been in the same circles. Did you even know I had a channel?
Yes, I did.
Okay. I often wonder, like, these people even know I exist?
Like,
Yes.
I was freaked out when Mike spooked me. He was like, "Hey," and I'm just like secretly in my mind, going, "What the hell?" But that's what a lot of people tell me when they say hi to me. I just get easily scared. I'm like, why are you talking to me? I'm nobody.
Give yourself a little bit more credit, Wonder.
Yeah, everyone knows Nerd Wonder. She's awesome.
I just like hugging and friendship.
That's
And
what-
also screaming a lot. People now want to buy my screams.
I heard that, but they might
Yeah.
want a special kind of scream that you might not want to sell.
There's certain ones I will not sell. Sorry,
right.
everybody. I'm not like it's just a combatant bathwater, but we're not going that far.
Well, I've kept these guys for an hour and a half. I told I'd go for an hour, so I didn't want to keep them for too terribly long. So I appreciate you jumping in the show. Is there anything you'd like to share for closing? It mentioned about your channel, anything you want to plug or whatever, feel free.
Of course, you guys can find Englewood on Indiegogo. We're going to be going for 48 more days as of right now. And when this one comes to an end, we will be, launching the next book, hopefully soon afterwards. By the way, after the campaign ends, the next month is when it ships. And on top of that, you can find me on YouTube under my name, Micah Curtis. I didn't go anything fancy with the channel. And on top of that, just watch those spaces, because once and get in on the mailing lists, because once the one campaign ends, when the next one launches, I will be letting you guys know about it, and I'm going to continue bringing you guys books, hopefully for years upon years to come.
Awesome. So it's a big project. This is one shot. You have a large plan. That's really cool. How about you, Nerd? Anything you want to say and wrap it up?
I want t-shirt.
T-shirt.
T-shirt, t-shirt, t-shirt,
All right.
t-shirt. Also, I think this looks amazing. Like, I can't stop looking. I know you guys don't want to talk about it, but I love the designs on every single character, their faces, their emotions, the movement. It's just so fluid. It is beautiful. I am looking forward to reading this.
Yeah, I think this looks like a lot of fun. Something I definitely want to check out. So I just want to say thank you, everybody, for joining us. I know I haven't been producing a lot of content lately. I'm just going to throw this out there real quick. I'm dealing with a lot of family issues. I have a stepfather that has severe mental illness. He's been going downhill fast with dementia, and I'm in the process of getting him taken care of. And I mean, I'm at the point I'm getting 10 or more calls a day from him, and I visit him like 5 times a week or more. I had to take his cars away and have to take care of him with all that. So it's been just really busy, but I'm working my way out of that situation to get him the care he needs. So that if you wonder why is Captain Frugal not putting out any videos, which you probably didn't notice because you don't get notified for them anyway, that I've just been really busy, and I plan to get back on track as soon as I can. So thanks for taking the time to listen. I appreciate all these people that come on my show, like Nerd Wonder, to be such an awesome co-host, more than I deserve, and you guys coming on here and sharing your books and your projects and your passion when you could be on some other channel, I'm sure, and you take the time to be on mine. So I greatly appreciate it. Thank you for watching, everybody. Until next time, keep it frugal.
Bye-bye.